Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And today we are building another base game only starter home. I posted one who knows when, because I'm pre-recording like really far ahead right now, but I had another base game starter that I posted on the channel prior to this one, and I was noting how I did another one, and this is that other one. This is already going to be confusing. Anyway, it is a base game starter home, and I had a lot of fun with this one. I think I actually like this one more than the other one, mainly because of the exterior landscaping. I did it a little bit differently, and the interiors also, well, different because I'm not trying to make them the same, but I don't know, I just made some different choices and combined some objects on the interior that I typically wouldn't, and I just liked the results, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this as well. Now, this is the Streamlet Single lot, and the home that I built actually resembles the original home that was here. I typically don't work with the medium wall height, except for very particular circumstances, so that's definitely one thing that changed, but the shape of the house actually is very, very similar, and I'm totally okay with that because the shape itself wasn't the problem. I think it was the roofing, the colors, the objects that were chosen, and basically everything else. It's not really fair to say. I know, I'm kind of like crapping all over it, but it wasn't the best house, but I did like the shape and I thought it had a lot of potential, and it was very simple, and I just really did like it. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this. And as you can see, we are working on the landscaping right now, where I of course use a lot of debug items because, well, I wouldn't be able to do landscaping for a starter home without the debug menu, like I mentioned in my other starter home, because I don't know, plants are just so expensive, especially flowers and stuff. If I were to have had to purchase every single one of these plants that I used, this would not be a starter home. This would have had to have been a home that would cost like, I don't know, 30, 40,000 simoleons, which definitely isn't starter budget friendly. But yeah, I really liked it. I liked the color scheme. I kind of used this orange wood on the outside, which I usually reserve for interior, so it was kind of nice to bring it outside and let the sun hit it and really, really see how orange it was. And then I also used this blue siding just because it brings a little bit of a pop of color without it being so overbearing. I originally was leaning towards the yellow siding or the orange, but man, those are really bright. Am I the only one that's just noticing this? Like, I'm just realizing how bright those sidings are, and they're just a little bit too much for me. So I ended up going with something a bit more muted. And if you guys didn't know, there's two main siding textures, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's really true, but there's two sidings in base game that I typically use. It's this one that kind of looks like it's the thinner, more defined siding. It almost looks like vinyl siding. And then there's what kind of looks like older wood siding, and I love both of them. There are swatches of both that I really enjoy, but this thinner kind of vinyl looking siding is definitely the one that comes with more vibrant colors, and I don't use it that often. I end up using the other one more because it's a bit more subtle. I'm kind of realizing what choices I lean towards, but this is basically the exterior of the house. Those plants that I pulled out on the debug menu, or from the debug menu, that are over to the right, I end up tending to those at the end of the build because I hadn't placed all of the windows on the home yet, and I wanted to kind of put those either between some windows or on some spaces that might look awkward without something on it if there wasn't a window there, if that makes sense. And the layout for this home is very similar to the other starter home that I did, and that's mainly because it's another 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom starter. When I'm thinking starter, by the way, I'm thinking the budget for a 1-sim household, not a 2-sim household. I think with 2 sims you get 22,000 simoleons, and a single sim you get 20,000 simoleons. So what I did is I would take a playtest sim, because you can see I'm actually building with money in the household funds. I would take a playtest sim and I would actually go ahead and move them into the lot because I was messing this up for so long, and I don't know why, but I was trying to calculate, like, the house itself has to be 20,000, but it's really the house and the lot. So if you are trying to place this home on a lot that is more expensive than this lot, you won't be able to afford it. So I think that's really important to remember as well. Like, the price tag of the actual home in the gallery will be correct, but if you're trying to place it on a lot that pushes you over that budget, you won't be able to. It'll say that you can't afford to place the home, and that's sad. But this is on the Streamlet Single lot, so if you guys are wondering, that's where I placed it. And the interior of this home is a bit darker, I would say, than the other one that I did, and that wasn't necessarily intentional. I was honestly just kind of playing around with different things to see what I liked, but I was able to use these more expensive cabinets and cupboards, which I really enjoy. The cheapest ones that we have with base game, I just really don't like. I wish we had some better swatches, and I don't even know what better would really be. I just think that they're really dull and kind of boring and not very appealing, and I really don't like them. So I was really glad that I was able to use these other cabinets, because these are my favorite base game cabinets and counters. I love them so much. I love almost every single swatch except for the one that's white with the very vibrant blue what am I trying to say, countertop. I really don't like that one. It's not my thing, but I do really like this house. I would definitely have my Sims start out living here. I think it's actually a little bit more appealing than the other one too, and I think it's because I was able to use, I don't know, I think more items. This house in and of itself, I think the size is probably very similar to the other one, but this one kind of seems a bit smaller, so I feel like I had a little bit more funds to kind of play around with things. I'm not really sure. I didn't like measure out the houses or anything by tile count, but I don't know. It seems like it's a little bit smaller, so I was able to actually have a little bit more of a budget to play around with things. So this is the living space here, and then there's just a tiny little dining table that I will end up placing right here, kind of in between the living room and the kitchen. And you know what I was really missing when I was doing this build? I was really missing the low-lying fence from, I believe it's Get to Work, to actually separate the tile in the kitchen and the wood in the living room. It's such a small detail, but I do that to kind of frame where the tile starts and ends, basically from the living room to the kitchen usually, and I was really missing that because this is just a base game only build. And now I am actually working on picking out some pieces of artwork and how to decorate some of these bigger wall spaces without dropping too much cash, because I was starting to really run out, and I realized that I kind of made some sacrifices. I decorated the living room a little bit more, similar to the other one, more than I decorate the bedroom, because to be honest, your Sims just sleep in there. It doesn't need to be like this super decorated environment. If we're really getting down to gameplay, the living room and like the kitchen area is probably where your Sim will be spending a lot more time awake, and therefore actually having decorations and having it be a positive, good environment to impact their emotions is, I think, a little bit more beneficial. And then I was also able to actually get some decor items that actually cost money, and I didn't have to go into the debug menu at all, in my opinion, to actually spruce up the kitchen a bit. And I even gave them a microwave, which I wasn't able to do in the other one. I think I went for a cheaper sink in this one, but I used the same fridge as well as the same stove, which was a huge plus. And they actually have a nightstand in this build. Only one, because I couldn't afford a second one with some of the other things that I had to do, but that's okay. They at least have one, and they have a lamp in the bedroom. They have at least one piece of artwork, I believe, that I size up, and they have a dresser, a plant, and a rug, so it at least looks really nice. And what I like about this starter home and the other one is that there were a lot of windows in the bedroom, which in my opinion kind of balanced out the lack of decorations on the wall. Do you know what I mean? Because I was able to put curtains on all of the windows. There was a lot of sunlight that got in the room, and I just really liked how it came out. And the last thing I do is just kind of finalize the landscaping in the backyard. You'll notice that this house and the other one don't have any activities in the backyard because couldn't afford it, and I don't know, I just think it's really cozy, and this one is kind of adjacent to the other in the way in which I built them, at least the lots that I built them on. So I don't know, I'm kind of creating like a little neighborhood right now, and it's really fun. But I hope you guys did enjoy this. I will catch you next time I post a video, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.